Hello students, welcome to the ninth video. In the eighth video, we discussed a part of the ideal gas. We completed the Boyle's law also. In this video, we will discuss Charles laws and characteristic gas equation, that is PV equal to mRT. There are two laws from the Charles. One is Charles first law. Charles first law is also called Charles pressure law. Charles pressure law. It states that the volume of the given mass of an ideal gas, the volume of given mass of an ideal gas is directly proportional to its absolute temperature when the pressure is maintained constant. It means if you can able to maintain the constant pressure for any ideal gas or perfect gas, the volume is always directly proportional to temperature. It means if you increase the temperature, volume increases. Similarly, if you decrease the temperature, volume decreases. From this I can write that volume by temperature is proportional to 1 at constant pressure, or volume by temperature is equal to a constant. Volume by temperature remains constant at constant pressure means volume by temperature at state 1 is equal to volume by temperature at state 2. Once again, according to Charles first law or Charles pressure law, the volume is directly proportional to temperature at constant pressure, or volume by temperature remains constant. It means V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2 if the process is from 1 to 2. Similarly, second law is Charles second law or Charles volume law. Charles volume law. Charles volume law says that, or it states that, the pressure of the given mass of an ideal gas is directly proportional to its absolute temperature when the volume is maintained constant. If you can able to maintain the constant volume for any ideal gas or perfect gas, pressure is always directly proportional to temperature. Pressure is proportional to temperature means if the temperature is increasing, pressure is increasing at constant volume, or if the temperature is decreasing along with the temperature, proportionately pressure is decreasing. From this I can write that pressure by temperature is proportional to 1, or the pressure by temperature remains constant at constant volume. That means the ratio between the pressure and temperature remains constant at constant volume for any ideal gas or perfect gas. From this I can also write that pressure by temperature at state 1 is equal to pressure by temperature at state 2 can also be written as P1 by T1 is equal to P2 by T2 if the constant volume process is happening at constant volume. If the Charles volume law, or if the constant volume process is happening for the process 1 to 2. Now with this information, let us discuss the characteristic gas equation or ideal gas equation. Now we are going to discuss the ideal gas equation. Ideal gas equation is PV equal to mRT. PV equal to mRT, where P be the pressure, V be the volume, total volume, m be the mass of the gas, R be the gas constant, T be the temperature. For that, let us take 1 kg mass of an ideal gas, 1 kg mass of an ideal gas with initial pressure is P, volume is V, temperature is T. While the gas is changing its state, from state 1 to state 2, I am connecting the Boyle's law. In the Boyle's law, temperature is remaining constant. Temperature remains constant means temperature at state 1 equal to temperature at state 2. But pressure and volume are changing. Let pressure is changing from P to P1. Volume is from V to V dash for easy identification. For this 1 to 2 process, we connected the Boyle's law where the temperature is maintained constant. At constant temperature according to Boyle's law, product of pressure volume at state 1 is equal to product of pressure volume at state 2. Product of pressure volume at state 1 is product of pressure volume at state 1 P into V equal to product of pressure volume at state 2 P1 into V dash. From this you can write that V dash equal to PV by P1. Let this is the relation number 1 or equation number 1. Similarly, while the gas is changing its state from 2 to 3, while the gas is changing the state from 2 to 3, let us connect the Charles law where the pressure is maintained constant. 2 to 3 is the Charles pressure law. Charles pressure law states that volume by temperature remains constant at constant pressure. That means pressure remains constant. Pressure at state 2 equal to pressure at state 3. But temperature and volume are changing. Let the temperature is changing from T to T1. Volume is changing from V dash to V1. Temperature is changing from T to T1. Volume is changing from V dash to V1. According to Charles pressure law, volume by temperature remains constant. It means volume by temperature at state 2 must be equal to volume by temperature at state 3. From this, you can write that the volume by temperature at state 2 is V dash with the volume, temperature is T at state 2. Similarly, volume by temperature at state 3, volume at state 3 is V1, temperature at state 3 is T1. From this I can write that V dash equal to V1T by T1. From this, or assume this is the equation number 2 or relation number 2. Now let us compare the 1 and 2. From 1 and 2, from the relations 1 and 2, look at the 1 and 2. LHs are equal. Then you can equate the RHS. I can write that PV by P1 is equal to V1T by T1. V1T by T1. From this, you bring this T to this side, P1 to other side. It can be PV by T is equal to P1 V1 by T1. Look at this relation. From this, you can conclude that product of pressure and volume by temperature product of pressure and volume by temperature is equal to product of pressure and volume by temperature, it means product of pressure volume by temperature remains constant. That constant is called gas constant or characteristic gas constant. PV by T equal to gas constant, or it can be also written as PV equal to RT. PV equal to RT for 1 kg mass of gas, because initially we have taken 1 kg mass of gas only. So anyhow, for 1 kg mass of an ideal gas, the characteristic gas equation is PV equal to RT. This is for 1 kg mass of gas. For m kg mass of gas, it can be written as PV equal to MRT. This is for m kg mass of gas, where P equal to pressure, V equal to volume, m equal to mass of the gas, R equal to characteristic gas constant or individual gas constant, T be the absolute temperature of the gas. According to, remember, the mass of the gas can be decided like this. Mass of the gas m equal to product of number of moles and molecular weight. Product of number of moles and molecular weight is the mass of the gas. From this number of moles n equal to mass of the gas divided by molar mass. Number of moles n equal to mass of the gas divided by molecular weight of the gas. From this you can define a mole or kilomole. A mole is defined like this. A mole of a substance has a mass numerically equal to its molecular weight. It means if the mass of the gas is equal to its own molecular weight, then the number of moles equal to 1. It means if I take the 32 kg of oxygen, molecular weight of the oxygen is 32, then this 32 by 32 equal to 1. So 32 kg of oxygen is ideally equal to 1 kilomole of oxygen. 1 kilomole of oxygen. Similarly, 32 grams of oxygen is ideally or numerically equal to 1 mole of oxygen. Similarly, 44 kilograms of CO2 is equal to 1 kilomole of CO2, or 44 grams of CO2 is ideally equal to 1 mole of CO2. That is how you can define the mole of a substance. So anyhow, in place of mass, let us write this value. The PV equal to number of moles, mass equal to number of moles multiplied by molecular weight into R into T. Remember, according to Avogadro's law, product of molecular weight and gas constant is another constant called universal gas constant. Product of molecular weight and gas constant is another constant called universal gas constant. The standard value for universal gas constant is 8.314 kilojoules per kilomole Kelvin. From the above relation, I can write that gas constant R equal to universal gas constant Ru divided by molecular weight, or R equal to Ru, standard value is 8.314, it is in kilojoules per kg mole Kelvin divided by molecular weight. From this we can find the gas constant for any kind of gas. If you want to find the gas constant for oxygen, gas constant for oxygen equal to 8.314 divided by molar mass of the oxygen. Molar mass of the oxygen is 32. Similarly, R for air, atmospheric air, is equal to 8.314, that is standard value irrespective of the gas, divided by the molecular weight of the atmospheric air is taken as 28.96. That is how you can find the characteristic gas constant. Now come to this relation, PV equal to N into M into R into T, but product of molecular weight and gas constant, product of molecular weight and gas constant is equal to universal gas constant. So PV equal to N into RU into T. This is also ideal gas equation in terms of number of moles. Majority of the students are getting confusing with these two relations only. Majority of the students are writing PV equal to N into R into T. It's not correct. PV equal to M into R into T is correct, but PV equal to N into RU into T. Remember, in the ideal gas equation, if you want to write the number of moles, the R should be in the form of universal gas constant, that is RU. PV equal to NRUT, where RU equal to universal gas constant, it can be also written as PV equal to RU equal to 8.314, that is standard value, into N into T. This is in terms of number of moles. Since we have taken here RU is in 8.314 kilojoules per kilomole Kelvin, for writing this value here N should be in kilomole. N should be in kilomole. That is the characteristic gas equation or ideal gas equation. This relation is very, very important. Now, let us discuss the relation between the Cp and Cv. Remember, the difference between the Cp and Cv, Cp minus Cv, is equal to characteristic gas constant, or this equation or this relation is experimentally decided by Mayer. That's why this equation is called Mayer's equation. Mayer's equation. The difference between the Cp and Cv is R. That equation is called Mayer's equation. Remember, for atmospheric air, the standard values are Cp equal to 1.005, Cv equal to 0.718. Then Cp minus Cv is the R equal to 0.287. These three are in kilojoules per kg Kelvin, or kilojoules per kg degree centigrade is also correct. This is the one relation between the Cp and Cv. Other relation between Cp and Cv is Cp by Cv is equal to another constant. That constant is called adiabatic index, denoted by gamma. This equation or this relation experimentally decided by the Rignall. That's why this relation is called Rignall's relation. R-E-G-N-A-L-T apostrophe. Rignall's law. According to Rignall's law, the ratio between the two specific heats, namely specific heat at constant pressure and specific heat at constant volume, is another constant. That constant is called adiabatic index. Adiabatic index. Remember, this adiabatic index always greater than 1 except at absolute zero state. Only at absolute zero state, since Cp and Cv both are equal, the adiabatic index equal to 1. For any ideal gas or real gas, the adiabatic index always greater than 1 other than at absolute zero state. It means Cp always greater than Cv. Cp always greater than Cv for any gas may be either ideal type or real type except at absolute zero temperature. And remember, the adiabatic index gamma is function of degree of freedom. Adiabatic index gamma is function of degree of freedom. Is function of degree of freedom means the adiabatic index is depending on the degree of freedom. So from this, the important information is the degree of freedom is maintained by not only the solid members but also maintained by the gas particles. The relation between the adiabatic index and degree of freedom is adiabatic index gamma equal to 1 plus 2 by F, where F equal to degree of freedom, The degree of freedom physical meaning is like this. When you keep an ant on a thread which is connected horizontally, if I keep the ant on the thread which is connected horizontally, then that ant can move along the thread direction only. Therefore, degree of freedom for that ant is 1. But if I keep the same ant on the plane is maintaining the 2 dimensions. Therefore, that ant can comfortably move in the x direction and y direction. Therefore, the degree of freedom for the same ant is 2 when you keep it on the plane. When you keep the same ant on the solid object, since the solid object is maintaining 3 dimensions, the same ant can move along the x direction, along the y direction, along the z direction. Therefore, the degree of freedom for the same ant is 3 when it is kept on the solid object. That is the physical meaning of degree of freedom. That degree of freedom also maintained by the gases. In our thermodynamics, we are going to concentrate on different gases. Like monatomic gas, monatomic gas like helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, etc. Similarly, diatomic gas, N2, etc., hydrogen, etc. and triatomic gas like CO2, SO2, etc. Now let us decide the degree of freedom for these 3 gases. In case of monatomic gas, monoatom means single atom. That single atom may be lying somewhere at the origin. This may be x coordinate, y coordinate and z coordinate. In case of monatomic gas, that single atom may be lying or locating somewhere at this origin. This is the single atom. That single atom can maintain one translatory motion about x coordinate, one translatory motion about y coordinate, one more translatory motion about z coordinate. Therefore, the number of translatory motions for the monatomic gas equal to 3. The single atom cannot maintain either rotary motion or vibratory motion at room temperature. Therefore, number of rotary motions equal to 3 and the number of vibratory motions also equal. Number of rotary motions are 0 and the number of vibratory motions are 0. Then the total degree of freedom F equal to number of translatory motions plus number of rotary motions plus number of vibratory motions. It is equal to 3. Then you know relation between the adiabatic index and degree of freedom. Gamma equal to adiabatic index gamma equal to 1 plus 2 by F. Since the degree of freedom equal to 3 for monatomic gas, adiabatic index gamma equal to 1 plus 2 by 3 is equal to 1.667. That is the adiabatic index for monatomic gas like helium, neon, argon, krypton, etc. Similarly, if I take the diatomic gas like oxygen, nitrogen, etc., di means 2. Those two atoms may be lying either on x coordinate or either on x coordinate or y coordinate or z coordinate. If I take the two atoms are lying in the x coordinate, these two atoms are connected by these two atoms are arranged perfectly on the x coordinate system. Since the two atoms are connected in the horizontal direction according to our representation, these two atoms are maintaining three translatory motions about their respective coordinates. Since the two atoms are perfectly arranged like a line, a small amount of energy is sufficient to maintain one rotary motion about y direction and other rotary motion about z direction. Therefore, number of rotary motions equal to 2. Remember, the number of rotary motions maintained by the diatomic gas equal to 2. Those two rotary motions are other than the connected direction. That means if the atoms are connected in horizontal direction or x coordinate, one rotary motion about y direction, one more rotary motion about z direction. Similarly, if the two atoms are connected in the y coordinate, the rotary motions are one in x coordinate and other is in z coordinate. And the number of vibratory motions maintained by the diatomic gas equal to 0. To maintain the vibratory motion, large amount of energy is required. At room temperature, sufficient energy is not available for any gas. Therefore, no gas can maintain the vibratory motion at room temperature. But if I heat the gas to the 2000 degree centigrade or 2500 degree centigrade, at that very high temperature, the vibratory motion also comes into picture in addition to the translatory and rotary motions. Now for this case, the degree of freedom F equal to number of translatory motions, number of rotary motions and number of vibratory motions. It is equal to 3 plus 2 plus 0 is equal to 5. The degree of freedom for a diatomic gas equal to 5. Then the adiabatic index gamma equal to 1 plus 2 by F. It is equal to 1 plus 2 by 5. It is equal to 1.4. Therefore, the adiabatic index gamma equal to 1.4 for diatomic gas. Even if you take the atmospheric air is mainly consisting of nitrogen and oxygen. Since these two are monatomic gas only, therefore gamma equal to 1.4 for atmospheric air also. Now come to the triatomic gas. In case of triatomic gas, the atoms are arranged like this. One atom along the x coordinate, one more atom along the y coordinate, one more atom along the z coordinate. These three atoms are connected like a triangle in the perfect balanced manner. Since these three atoms are maintaining perfect balancing about their respective coordinates, in addition to three translatory motions, it can maintain three rotary motions. One rotary motion about x coordinate, one rotary motion about y coordinate and one more rotary motion about z coordinate. But it cannot maintain the vibratory motion at room temperature. Therefore, total degree of freedom F equal to number of translator motions plus number of rotary motions plus number of vibratory motions equal to 3 plus 0 is equal to 6. Remember, this is very important information. The adiabatic index gamma equal to 1.667 for monatomic gas because degree of freedom equal to 3. Degree of freedom for a diatomic gas is 5. Therefore, adiabatic index equal to 1.4. Whereas for a triatomic gas, the degree of freedom is 6. The adiabatic index gamma equal to 1 plus 2 by F. It is equal to 1 plus 2 by 6. It is approximately 1.2334. That is the adiabatic index for triatomic gas. Adiabatic index for triatomic gas, adiabatic index for diatomic gas, and adiabatic index for monatomic gas. So with this, my dear students, with this the ideal gas concept is completed. In the next video, we will discuss the problems for the basics of thermodynamics and ideal gases. Thank you very much.